Welcome on back to another episode of the Goonery. It is October 8th. Chicago Bears are 3-2, headed to London. Brandon, they did what they had to do. They did what they had to do, and I loved every goddamn second of it.
Now I know I ranted this last episode about how the Bears should continue to do the same things over and over again. I'd be lying to you if I said I wasn't moved by what I saw on
I was,
Sunday. And look, there's people out there already. It was just the Carolina Panthers. It's just the Now look,
hey,
let's pick a narrative. Let's pick a narrative here. So let's just give a scenario in which the Bears beat the Panthers, let's say 17-13. What would the narrative be? That Caleb Williams isn't that good. He's not the correct leader of the team. Is he training towards bust territory? And even the more egregious question is down the line going to look like the Panthers want to trade. But on the other hand, you have Caleb Williams, who looked like an actual NFL quarterback that is improving week by week. By the way, which by the way, if like put to the side all the Bears' struggles and on everything that's wrong with them, the one thing that has been consistent is that Caleb Williams is improving gradually, week by week, and you can see his passer rating, and that's all the proof that you need. The fact is that I don't give a damn how we see the Carolina Panthers. They are the worst team in football, but right now they're an NFL football team. And you will want to see your rookie quarterback perform like that against an NFL team. I don't give a damn about the records. I don't give a damn about the personnel. I don't care about none of that. The fact of the matter is that he balled out against an NFL team, and that is something that can build morale for weeks to come. And the scary thing is, too, is that right now, DJ Moore is his main guy. Keenan Allen hasn't even hit the stride yet. Romo Dunze hasn't hit the stride yet. Cole Kmet hasn't hit the stride yet. Slowly but surely, they're going to have the game plan for DJ Moore. Can you afford to do that? I don't think you can. That's where the chemistry is going to start.
so two things I want to talk about. Yeah, I'll get to the chemistry piece. Everyone's saying is against the Carolina Panthers, like you said, still an NFL team. Well, if it's the Carolina Panthers, why has there only been one quarterback in 2024 to throw for 300 or more yards against the Carolina Panthers? There's only been one. And look, I know that number is going to be inflated by the end of the year. I am not going to beat around the bush here. It will. That is a horrible professional football team. End of the day,
Yes.
you need to beat up on those teams.
Absolutely.
I have been scared because it has sort of seemed this way so far this year, up until against Panthers. The Panthers just must be that bad. I mean, we'll see more in Jacksonville this week because I do think the Bears are much closer. I think Jacksonville is bad, but I think Jacksonville is closer to the Bears than the Bears are closer to the Panthers. And my biggest fear with this Bears team early on in the year, just from what we've seen, is they're going to play to the level of their competition, regardless of how good or bad this football team is. And I think the Panthers are just
Yes.
an exception. And that scares the living shit out of me. Because
Yep.
if they're bad and they can't hang with these, if they are going to lose these games against, again, in the vein of let's look at the Texans game, right? They were never going to win that football game. I mean, like,
Correct.
I know the scoreboard says otherwise, but they were never going to win that football game.
Mm-hmm.
If they're going to do that this season, I just want them to know, get rid of Matt Eberflus. I am still, I, I hate that I'm doing this. I'm going back and forth on Matt Eberflus because you can tell these guys love to play for him.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell they want to play for him. They want to win for him. I'm just still not sold on him. And it really, really, really fucking sucks with the way this Bears schedule is structured this year. Now, you don't play the division until end of November, I believe.
I believe so.
I think November 17th is the first division game against the Packers. And that scares me because they could go into that 7-win team potentially and lose out. I mean, I'm not saying I don't think they will lose out, but it's a possibility. And if you finish below 500 in the division this year, despite how good this division is, I do think you have to part ways with Eberflus. And
You have
that is a whole different conversation to be had right now. But I'm really interested to watch and see if they are going to play to the level of their competition the rest of the way here. It's technically a home game this weekend in Jacksonville, or not in London. It technically speaking, it feels like a home game for Jacksonville at this point. But I need to see them step on throats again. I know the Jaguars just scored a shit ton of points on the Colts this weekend. Bears did not, but that was a different Bears team from when they played the Colts. These steps Caleb Williams has taken and continues to take so far this year. I mean, it's been exponential growth and improvement week after week. It took Caleb Williams 5 games to break the Bears rookie 300 yards in a 300 game. Fuck, I can't talk right now. I am so sorry. Your laughing is making it worse.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's bad. It took Caleb Williams 5 games to break the franchise record for the Bears rookie quarterbacks 300 yards in a game. 5 games. The improvement is there. I don't know what else you want to see.
But that's the thing, though. We have this thing in sports where, and because like literally, what happens in sports is the same thing that happens in wrestling. You act like two things can't be good.
Yep.
And you look at Jaden Daniels, and you're instantly going to look to Caleb Williams to say, why is he playing like that? And the fact of the matter is, and yes, it comes down to coaching, and I'm going to get to the coaching aspect, but why can't we appreciate the fact that these two quarterbacks are breaking a stigma that rookie quarterbacks are going to start slow and they're going to struggle their way through the first season? Now, granted, that could easily be the case for Jaden Daniels because guess what? Baltimore's around the corner, and understandably, you could be a little less tense about that because Baltimore's not the same defense. That defense is not good, but at the same time, that's still a defense that has a lot of veterans on it, and they are going to key in on making sure that they make Jaden Daniels as uncomfortable as possible. Same thing happened with Caleb Williams, and this is where the coaching comes in. From what I've seen from the Matt Eberflus era, it doesn't matter who the coordinator is, whatever the case is. We see Shane Waldron call a gem of a game last Sunday. Crazy as it sounds, he called a gem of a game. Are we expecting that consistency going forward? Are we expecting him to adjust when teams to start to adjust to the offense? I don't know. I don't.
We won't know until we see it.
Correct.
And I'm going to choose to believe that Waldron will continue the game plan in the same manner that he did this past Sunday. And the reason I say this is because last week, or going into last week, Caleb Williams, Mercedes Lewis, Cole Kmet, multiple people on the offensive side of the football told Shane Waldron, we need to be more aggressive.
Yeah.
We're not going to win games if we're not aggressive. They were pushing the ball downfield. Caleb was taking shots downfield. They're playing winning football. They're handing Roschon Johnson the football in short yardage situations. They're bringing in fucking Doug Kramer to play fullback. I don't know why, but it works. And that combo of him and Roschon Johnson is unstoppable. The offensive line seemingly took a step in the right direction. Again, I know it's the Panthers, but the way Caleb was pushing the ball downfield and continuing to extend plays with his legs and keeping his eyes downfield the entire time, it's impressive. It's impressive. And Shane Waldron's not trying to run between the tackles anymore with DeAndre Swift. He knows that that's not going to work. Let DeAndre Swift get into space, and you have 2 straight 100-yard plus games. Total purpose. If they can continue featuring DeAndre Swift in the manner that they have the last couple weeks, and just let him be effective in open space, this is a totally new offense, and that takes a lot of weight off of Caleb Williams' shoulders.
So funny you mentioned that because I was not a person that agreed with the whole concept of Caleb being a point guard. And I think that's what the meeting was based around too. Because notice the aggression that the offense has had. You know what that aggression has done? It has subtly opened up the run game.
Yep.
Like literally, it's crazy because all we wanted was the running game to be effective. Not and literally as the run game has become effective, the Bears suddenly have an identity now. They are a team that can feature balance, feature guys in space. That's exactly what is needed for Caleb to succeed. And the fact is, I think the coaching staff handled the running back situation very poorly. I understand DeAndre Swift gets paid. I think when you get paid a lot, they're going to try to trot you out there to justify the contract. Cool. But Roschon Johnson was a guy that even last year, I know he had a couple of injuries and it kind of slowed his growth, but he was always a guy I'm just like, this guy should be a featured back in the offense.
Yep.
And hell, I even still think, call me crazy, because I'm one of these people who don't think he's as bad as some people think he is. I think you'll benefit with having Khalil Herbert featuring the offense too.
Oh, absolutely. I as we can go down this road if we want, but I still think the DeAndre Swift signing was dumb considering the money that was spent and the resources that we already had in the backfield. But why not run some more 2-back sets? Have Khalil Herbert and DeAndre Swift both involved in the passing game. Run why not use it? Just show me something, Shane Waldron. You saw it. You've seen him do it in the past with 2-backs. I mean, in Seattle, you saw it sometimes with Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker. And throw in the fact that you have a quarterback who can move a little bit.
Yeah.
There's something that could be had there. I don't know if they ever go down that route, but I guess we'll see if Shane Waldron continues to evolve this offense, because after this past week, I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. But
I won't do it yet. Not doing it yet.
Fair enough. My favorite thing I saw from the coaching staff this weekend, I thought was very different than what we've seen from Bears teams in the past with the lead.
Mm-hmm.
Using the fourth quarter to let Caleb just get live passes. They knew they were not going to lose that football game. They left him out there and they let Caleb keep throwing the football, making adjustments at the line of scrimmage. I mean, just be aggressive with the lead. Don't be afraid to make mistakes right now. And that's better than any practice you're going to get.
Absolutely.
And in years past, you would not see that with the struggle. You wouldn't. They would have ran the ball every single play, punted, and they still would have won the game because, quite frankly, the Bears have probably the best player in the NFL with Torrey Taylor punting, it seems, at this point. We need a nickname for him, by the way. Like, Torrey Taylor is just a bad motherfucker. I heard someone say call him God, it was a play on the crocodile hunter with him being from Australia. God, what was it? Regardless, it was good, and I wanted to catch on. I need to track it back down. How he does not have a nickname yet, and after 5 games, I am disappointed in Bears fans that nothing has caught on.
Something will. No, I mean, knowing Bears fans, we're too damn passionate to not give a nickname. But I want to give a shout out to a group on the Bears that we were really concerned about going into the season. D-line has played out its damn mind. And it's crazy. And I think in this regard, I owe Ryan Poles an apology. I trashed him for trading back and not picking Jalen Carter. I have news for y'all. We got the better player.
Better defensive tackle.
We got the better player in the
Crazy.
second round.
Both you and I were high on Dexter last year when they made that pick. Just pure athleticism, size, raw ability. He was raw coming out of Florida. Admittedly, he was.
Couldn't get up the line in time.
No. And in less than a year and a half, it looks like he's going to be heading towards his first Pro Bowl this year. I mean, he leads all interior defensive linemen with quarterback hits and sacks through 5 games. That come from he's been the best defensive player on the Bears so far this year, I think.
And because defensively, I mean, him and Brisker are like, and Johnson are like 1A, 1B, and 1C. But I tell you, a guy that's like really close behind, I tell you, I love Darrell Taylor. I love the motor he plays with. Like Montez Sweat is a force multiplier. We both can't talk.
We both can't talk.
He's a force multiplier because everyone else is starting to produce because everyone's paying attention to him. And I think that was the plan going into the season. Everybody was going to focus on making sure Montez Sweat does not do damage. Everything else is opened up for the defensive line, and they have improved gradually. And I don't know if that's solely because of Montez Sweat or maybe just maybe the addition of Eric Washington for the defensive coordinator that's really turned things around. So shout out to that defense, and that's one group I will not hesitate to compliment because they've been solid all season long, and I'm hoping that they're not peaking too early. But I can't deny what I'm seeing. It's been great.
And there's 2 guys we haven't mentioned that I want to give another shout out to. Kevin Byard has been a much better signing than I expected. He has been the model of consistency on this Bears team so far.
Really laughed at us, by the way.
Yep. But another one that will just forever fly under the radar, despite looking at him. I don't know how he could. Andrew Billings, man.
I mean, he's incredible.
Andrew Billings.
He's incredible.
The fact that Coles got him forever, however cheap he got him last year, it has paid over tenfold. Andrew Billings is legitimately a force to be reckoned with on the interior. Him and Dexter, it's chef's kiss.
Literally. It literally reminds me of like the Tommy Harris, Michael Haynes days. Literally.
Someone tweeted during the game, Jerron Dexter becoming pre-injury Tommy Harris is not something I had on my bingo card, but I'm not gonna fucking complain. And it's the truth.
It's the truth. Like literally, like we have an Alex Brown on the defense. We have a Tommy Harris. I mean, hopefully Austin Booker could develop to be an Israel Adonijah. I don't know, but that'll be great.
That would be awesome. That'd be pretty sweet. So on the defense, though, it does look like Bears are going to be missing Brisker this week in London, which, yeah, I mean, I could have told you he was concussed after that hit, unfortunately. But anyone who is still complaining about Quan Brisker before we move on, I just politely want to tell you to fuck off. He was not drafted to be a coverage guy. That's just not who he is.
Yep.
Guess what? He's damn good at what he does and it makes up for it. So quit complaining. If you just understand what Brisker is, you will love him and your anger will be gone.
Just because he ain't Mike Brown doesn't mean he's not an effective safety.
Exactly. Exactly. But yeah, I'm really interested to see how Mr. Biles does in his place this week.
Yep.
Um, I guess we will wait and see. But
Yep.
so heading into London Sunday morning. Currently in Vegas, the Bears are 1.5 point favorites, Brandon.
Okay.
I don't know what to make of that, quite frankly, because if I would have guessed what the line was, I would have guessed 3.5. So
Yeah, I was thinking the same.
not far off, but Vegas knows. So clearly they think that this is virtually a this is a crapshoot. I mean, this go either way.
Mm-hmm.
I just personally, with the way this defense has been playing, really don't see a scenario where they don't give Trevor Lawrence nightmares that is coming Sunday. And I've said it before, I will say it again. Trevor Lawrence is a bust. I don't I don't care that he earned that contract. Trevor Lawrence is not good and not a good NFL quarterback. He's fine and he's serviceable, in my opinion. But I'm going to call him a bust just considering he was hailed as the next generational quarterback in the NFL coming out of college.
That's fair. That's fair.
But this is realistically it just looking at, I mean, yes, Matthew Stafford is the best quarterback in my opinion. The Bears have played, or well, I take that back. They played C.J. Stroud. I take that back. I take that back.
Made him look pedestrian too, but
Yeah, but I was going to say, considering what they've done with Stroud and Stafford so far this year, I I don't see this being an issue, and they should come back to Chicago 4-2, head into the bye week, rest up, and then you have a battle between the two front runners for the Rookie of the Year.
I'm scared this weekend.
I
It just reeks of a letdown game. It really does. I've seen this before. It's kind of like a foreign thing for the Bears to have a winning streak, and it would bring it to 3 if we beat Jacksonville this weekend. But it just smells. This game smells funny. I'm not gonna say we're gonna win. I'm not gonna say we're gonna lose. It just smells fishy, and I'm gonna leave it at that.
that, that's valid. I will say the Bears currently have the longest home winning streak in the NFL,
Yes, they do.
8 games. So if they win this week, I'm going to say that it goes to 9. But if they lose this week, it still stays at 8. I just want to make sure we're all on the same page, Bears fans.
You are correct, though. I mean,
Technically, but speaking of some other shenanigans, Robert Saleh out as the head coach of the 2-3 New York Jets. And safe to say that banking your franchise's future on a 40-year-old quarterback is only going to work once in history.
yeah, and the guy they actually worked with happens to be the greatest of all time.
Yeah, yeah.
But living in the tri-state area, I've heard all the reaction today, and let me just say this: was Roberts. So I've had a really sour opinion on Robert Saleh ever since the Zach Wilson, Mike White debacle.
Mm-hmm.
When you have your players openly wearing the shirt of a backup quarterback while the starter is still on the team and you're not saying a word about it, that falls on you. That is no good in any scenario. All right, so the defense, which is a specialty, has not been bad this year. It's been pretty damn good outside the San Francisco 49ers game.
Mm-hmm.
But let's call it what it is. Robert Saleh was going to fire Nathaniel Hackett before he got the boot.
Yep.
Who was Nathaniel Hackett boys with?
It's
Aaron Rodgers. The same Aaron Rodgers that came into the organization and decided that mandatory minicamp was optional. The
secondary
same Aaron Rodgers.
ayahuasca retreat.
Yes, the same Aaron Rodgers who brought his buddies in and said it's going to work. The same Aaron Rodgers who, by all accounts, is not the same player.
No.
You did all of that, and he's running your franchise. And all right, so again, from tri-state area, I listen to Yankees announcer Michael Kay's show every single day. He made a point saying that if the Jets do not win the Super Bowl this year, it is the biggest failure of all time. And I thought at the time it was hyperbolic.
Oh, come on. That's hyperbolic.
It's hyperbolic. But think about it like this. A guy that, which, by the way, all-time great, he has won Super Bowl. You hitched your wagon to him. You put all chips on the table for him. If this doesn't work, you're starting over, and I'm telling you, you thought it was bad when they were scratching and clawing for a quarterback. Look, I don't know what the classes are going to be in the next couple of years, but they're going to have to reset everything. They're eventually going to have to pay guys, and if none of this works out, you think they want to go back to that franchise with all the expectations, and they have one of the best quarterbacks of all time, and they still couldn't get a championship? Look, it's not the biggest failure of all time. Is it up there? Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't even know if I would call it a failure as much as malpractice. Like
Fine line between the two a little bit.
It's difficult because if he did not rupture his Achilles last year, this would be a completely different conversation. If they were okay last year, made a playoff spot, which I think they would have, in all honesty, I think they would have if he was healthy. If he was coming into this year not off an Achilles rupture and they started 2-3, fine. You know what? Fine. Fire him. And I don't get it because they claim they are still contending, but you're not contending with an interim head coach, and you're not contending with Aaron Rodgers as your head coach because that's the reality of this situation. Is Aaron Rodgers now your head coach and GM because it's only a matter of time till Devontae Adams is suiting up for the Jets. It feels.
Which is funny too, because I find it really funny when people say, "Oh yeah, the Jets need Devontae Adams." What the hell is he going to do for them?
No, are you kidding me? You don't need to add Devontae Adams to an offense that has Garrett Wilson and yes, Alan Lazard. He's still fine. Alan Lazard is fine.
He drops a lot of passes.
Yeah, but the real issue with that offense is the fact that Breece Hall cannot get fucking going.
Yeah, that's
that and
identity.
And Aaron Rodgers' turnover issues he's had this year. I think he has 2-3 interception games already, which for Aaron Rodgers is pretty fucking crazy.
I love that song.
Oh, I love it too. But it's if I was a Jets fan, or if there are any Jets fans, let me rephrase that because I'm already in sports fan hell. Welcome back. Welcome back. Good to see you again. Good to see you again because, yeah, it sucks. They are. If there are two teams just stuck in hell right now, I do want to talk about this, by the way, before we move on. Two teams stuck in hell: the Jets and the Cleveland Browns.
Oh boy.
I don't know if I have ever seen a situation worse than what the Browns have gotten themselves into with Deshaun Watson. I think there are probably 60 quarterbacks, 60 to 75 quarterbacks who, if I were the Cleveland Browns, I would start over Deshaun Watson right now. And I don't think that number could be higher. I mean, I could keep going. Maybe do we push it to 100? I don't know. Deshaun Watson has the worst contract in the history of sports.
Easily.
And
Easily. I don't care about Bobby Bonilla.
no, no, screw that. Stephen Cohen shits out that much money every day. At this point, it's nothing. It's Kevin Stefanski does not want Deshaun Watson as his quarterback, and there's not a damn thing he can do.
Mm-hmm.
And he has the best backup in the NFL right behind him. He is a guy who could probably start for a handful of teams right now, if necessary. And I will always be a Jameis Winston guy. I love Jameis Winston. You can go back on the Goonery years and see me blogging and clamoring for Jameis Winston to be the Bears quarterback. Thank God we are past that, by the way. But how is your backup quarterback leading the team out of the tunnel? Hyping up, giving pregame speeches.
What a bad look.
I just don't know how bad it needs to get in order to see Jameis Winston named the starter. Because I don't even think Deshaun Watson would fucking care.
I don't even would either. But I have a very damning stat. Do you know that Deshaun Watson has more accuses than touchdown passes as a Cleveland Brown? This guy is so damn bad. And I know Stephen A. dropped an all-time quote on Deshaun Watson. He said, if they wanted to arrest him for being bad, I would sign off on it.
Did you hear?
That's how bad he has been. And think about it. Cleveland, in some people's minds, and I was on the fringe with this. People thought Cleveland was a favorite in the AFC North.
They played in they made the playoffs last year.
Yeah, they ran into a buzzsaw, but they still made it. That defense was elite. That Amari Cooper was fantastic last season. He looks helpless this year. Helpless.
Well, prediction: Amari Cooper will be either a Buffalo Bill or a Kansas City Chief within 2 weeks.
And God help us all if he's a Kansas City Chief. Yeah. But I tell you, I hate the situation for the Browns because I do not give a damn about his contract.
Nope.
If that man is playing like that, you cannot sit there and continue to sign off because you want to justify the contract. There is nothing to justify at this point. They are going to possibly be in the running for one of the top quarterbacks in the draft next season, and you're paying a guy that much money. Cut your losses. I know GMs are the most prideful people that we will ever meet, but your team is floundering right now.
Wow.
In an AMC in which you can make the playoffs in that conference. They're floundering because they are putting this guy out there. I'm not saying cut him, but you gotta get rid of. You can't have him starting the next couple of weeks. You can't.
You know what they're waiting for, and they're waiting for the league to come down with a suspension.
Yes.
So then they can get out of that contract. Because that is legitimately what they are waiting for. Because I think it's a matter of time until Deshaun Watson goes to jail and the Browns are let loose from that contract. And I think that is the God honest truth for what they are waiting for. And
that's God's doing because God don't like ugly either.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I feel bad for Browns fans. I genuinely do. And it's a shame. It's a shame on all fronts. And I don't know. Do you know John Fanta?
I've heard of him.
Okay, so he's a big college basketball guy. I love his college basketball stuff. Great Twitter follow just because he's so wholesome. He's just so wholesome. And he's from Cleveland. He's a Browns fan. And he's been putting out videos after every Browns game this year. And at the end of the videos the last few weeks, it's just been, I'm just ticked. I don't know what to say. I'm just ticked. This past week, he's laughing for the entire video. He goes, "There's nothing else but to do. I'm not even ticked anymore. I just laugh. I'm
Yep.
laughing like everyone else is laughing at us. There's nothing we can do."
Yep.
And it's a shame. I feel genuinely bad for the Browns, and I feel bad for Jameis Winston too. I do, because they would win football games with him at quarterback, and I genuinely believe that.
If even if they don't win, they would be competitive.
Mm-hmm.
That's really the thing. They're
No,
not competitive.
right. No, you're right. You're right.
And I feel bad for them because they had a semblance of stability until he came back and I'm off injury.
Yep.
Crazy.
It's a sad world we live in. And I'm just glad it's not us this time with the quarterback issues.
Yeah, let's see. Let's see.
At least half of us not having quarterback issues. I hate to pivot that way, Brandon, but Wolverines are a team without a quarterback, and that's all that comes down to it with this team. I'm gonna say it, they're not that good of a football team, and it all comes down to they don't have a quarterback. If you have three quarterbacks, they say if you have two quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks. If you have three quarterbacks, I don't even know where to begin.
Yeah. So let me give some insight on this. In my opinion, I think Jack Tuttle would have won the job had he not gotten hurt in spring practice.
That's fair.
When you have the choices of Davis Warren and Alex Orji, you fucked up when it comes to the transfer portal. Which, by the way, I know people jump with Sharon for not getting in the portal and getting his guy, but at the end of the day, Jim Harbaugh leaving as late as he did really messed up the process. It is what it is. It fucked us up completely, and I don't think we'll make that same mistake again.
No, I don't. I don't either.
Now, I'm being very, very. I'm being the defender right now, but now I'm going to flip it. This coaching staff sucks. It's plain and simple. Wink Martindale should go to jail for thievery. He is the highest paid defensive coordinator. I think he's actually the highest paid coordinator in general.
I think he
in
is
college
coordinator, yeah.
And it's almost like he was a guy who coached DBs and he's becoming a defensive coordinator for the first time. That's how he's coaching his defense. And which is crazy because you have a defense that sports Will Johnson, Mason Graham, Kenneth Grant, and Josiah Stewart. You know what all four of those players have in common? They're all going fourth. They're all going to the first round in next year's draft.
Yep.
4. And you rank in the 90s in the defense. In the 90s. And I just think, damn. I think back to the Texas game, and I say, wow, maybe if we had a fully functioning defensive coordinator, that game could have been closer. Or even a coaching staff the offensive coordinator, he's terrible too. He's terrible. All I heard throughout the whole season, this guy is smart. He gets it. He wants to run the ball, but he also wants to air it out. You know what the problem is with that? You have Donovan Edwards, you have Khalil Mullings. You can run the football, but I guess you wanted to prove a point with Jack Tuttle. And by the way, I was one of the guys who said Jack Tuttle should have been a quarterback regardless when he gets back.
Yeah.
But when you are having success running the football, in which they was, what in the hell are you doing trying to prove a point that Jack Tuttle can be the quarterback of this team? That is not the time for that. It's not the time for it. So my conclusion is simply this. This team is not going anywhere with Sharon Moore. And I get it, first-year head coach, and he's messing up. But I genuinely believe with the decisions that he is making, that is a direct result of the coaching staff and the head coach, and they're just simply not making the right decisions. And that's my conclusion. They're just not good.
The bye week couldn't have come at a better time for them.
Oh, 1,000%.
The bye week could not have come at a better time for them. And I really, with the way the college football playoff with 12 teams this year, I thought that there was a legitimate shot that, Michigan probably could get one of those lower 9 to 12 seeds if they lose a game or two.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they've lost two games that they've lost one game they could not afford to lose.
Correct.
And with the way their schedule looks coming up here, I
I think we got at least 5 losses staring at us.
I was gonna say I think it's 4. I think it's at least 4. I mean, Ohio State and Oregon, I think, are automatic losses. Yeah. There's 2 teams kind of lurking there that I think we beat them. And
wait a minute. Wait. Because I asked you a question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you still believe Michigan could beat Illinois?
I do, especially with the bye week. I do.
Really?
I do think that they can beat Illinois. I do. Genuinely, I do. I think if they were not coming off of a bye week playing them, I would say no. But they have 2 weeks to prepare for Illinois. And Illinois is a genuinely a good football team. Luke Altmaier is as efficient of a quarterback in the country as anyone right now.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, they lost by 14 to Penn State, but Penn State's number 4 in the country. And
they actually might be legit this year, not gonna lie.
And despite it being that was a 14-point game, Illinois scored on their first drive, right? Penn State locked them the fuck down. But
yep,
it still didn't seem like horrible watching that game.
I agree with you. I agree.
Which is crazy to say. But this is an Illinois team where you've already exceeded expectations. There were no expectations coming into 2024 for Illinois football. I believe their win total in Vegas was 4.5. So they hit 4 already. They're 4-1. They're 4-1, and they're gonna mop the fucking floors with Purdue this weekend. I feel very confident in saying that, but I'm still nervous, and I think that there is an outside chance that they get College Game Day in Champaign, October 19th.
What do you pay October 19th?
Wolverines.
Oh, well, yeah. Ah, man, I feel like that. We have to check the schedule though. We gotta check the schedule.
I think no, it's the best Big Ten game for sure.
Yeah, they're definitely a big noon Saturday. That's for sure.
Yeah,
if not, it'll be the NBC game. But I think it should be
they're the 3:30 CBS game that day.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
I love you, Brad Nessler, but no, no.
So next week it is.
Oh no, they're not getting game day. Alabama, Tennessee's that week.
Oh shit! Yeah, I'm an idiot.
Yeah,
I didn't realize.
Oh wait, no, wait, no, I could be wrong too. Georgia and Texas is that week as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, yeah.
I didn't realize that. I got it. Again, I only looked at the Big Ten when I looked at the schedule. Where's game day at this weekend? Because this is an all-time college football Saturday coming up.
If they were smart, they were because there's only 2 options. But I think I know which way they're going since SEC. I think they're going to be at the Red River Rivalry.
I would think so. I would think so, but we should go to the West Coast for the second straight week.
You would think, like, because I mean, that's probably game of the year type things. But let me see, have they announced it? They are going to Ohio State and Oregon.
Good, good.
They should. They should.
It is just illegitimately all time.
That
I,
that
Ohio State, you have Ohio State, Oregon, Ole Miss, LSU, Tennessee, Florida. I know Florida is not good, but that's still a big rivalry game.
we love rivalries here. So
Yep. And you have the Red River. I know USC has lost its luster, but after losing to Minnesota, but USC, Penn State,
trap game. I don't care what they did against Minnesota last week. That's a trap game.
100%. But then you have, I mean, Utah, Arizona State's going to be a good game too. I think that
Utah,
South Carolina's going to give Bama a run for their money. I think
absolutely. Kansas State and Colorado.
that is going to be a fun game. That's a track meet. That is going to be a fun track meet.
I'll slam it over on that game.
Let's talk about this before we wrap. There is absolutely no playoff picture right now.
None?
The top 25 is so beyond fucked. This was the absolute perfect year for a 12 playoff, 12 team playoff. I mean, it's going to be chaos with 12 teams.
Yeah.
I could not imagine if this was the last year of the 14 playoff right now. Just the chaos that would be going on right now.
Yeah.
Because there would be a legit shot that the first release of the playoff rankings would be 3 Big Ten schools.
Yep.
And that's insane. That
I'll say this as a guy who's one of the biggest detractors of the of the playoffs. You couldn't put it better. This is the perfect year for this. It's like legit. Like last weekend shook up everything, and it basically told you not many elite teams in college football. And I think we're going to find that out with mostly Ohio State and Oregon. I have my reservations about both teams, but we're going to learn a lot about both of them. I'm gonna be at a bar for that game. I'm gonna be 2 bulldog margaritas in. I'm gonna have fun watching that.
Oh yeah,
but I'm excited for that game.
Yeah, that I haven't been amped for like a regular season college football game like this in a while. I think the last time I've been this amped for a college football regular season game was the Hendon Hooker Tennessee versus Alabama game in Neyland.
I agree with you, but it got surpassed with Georgia and Alabama
this year. You think?
Yeah, because expectations wise, yes.
For some reason that game just didn't. It didn't have the juice it should have for me personally. I don't know.
Really?
I still watched it. Obviously, it was a great fucking game.
Yeah.
It was incredible. But like going into it, I think there's more of a me problem because it was also Illinois Penn State that weekend, and I was amped for
right
on the national stage. That's probably a big reason why I wasn't as amped for that game. But can we talk, speaking of Alabama and Georgia, real quick? Is it safe to say that those two teams aren't as good as advertised? I mean, obviously, Bama beats Georgia. Georgia has not a great showing against Auburn, and then Alabama comes out in a spot where under Nick Saban, they would absolutely have never lost that game. They were bullied by Vanderbilt. Bullied. Yep. And are they just not that good? The SEC right now, it's just bonkers when it comes to one-loss teams. You have Texas at the top, obviously. Then you have A&M, LSU, Georgia, Ole Miss, Bama, Missouri, Tennessee, Oklahoma, all have one loss. And then you have a Kentucky team who is way better than their record shows.
Yeah.
Way better than their record shows, in my opinion. I mean, I'm safe to say Missouri has one loss. Obviously, if they fucking suck, let's just get that out of the
And
way.
wow, what a disappointment too. I mean, they made Conor Wigman look like Big Ben Roethlisberger and Miami of Ohio.
Yeah.
Saturday, I was so disappointed by them.
But
Love Luther Burden though.
yes, it's just these next few weeks are just going to be insane. And there's one team who I'm consistently looking at, not in the SEC, saying to myself, they have a path. Do they have a path to the playoff? They're not ranked right now.
Oh,
They're not ranked. They're one loss, but I'm looking at their schedule. And if a two-loss team gets in here, I'm like, if they end up having two losses, do they have a path? Colorado.
knew it. I knew
Does
it.
Colorado,
I knew
does
it.
Colorado have a path to the playoff? They have Kansas State this weekend, which they're going to be up for that game. It's in Boulder. They're going to be up. They're 4-point underdogs, but they kicked UCF's Dixon. Like that was
Which was stunning to me.
13 and a half point underdogs, and they buried them.
Yes.
Buried them.
I was impressed.
So I think that they can win that game. I think they can. Realistically, if they lose one, that's on there. But then Arizona, Cincinnati, Texas Tech, Utah, Kansas, Oklahoma State. I think that Utah is potentially a guaranteed loss, but that's in Boulder, and Utah is always good for a late season letdown, in my opinion.
I agree.
We're gonna learn a
Cam
lot.
Rising, I get healthy too.
We're gonna learn a lot about Dion as a head coach in the next couple of months, and I'm really excited for it because there's never been a question in the fact that Dion can recruit. That has never been in question.
I'll say this:
sidelines is what I'm looking forward to seeing if we can finally see it.
I will reserve all thoughts for Colorado after Kansas State. And I do think they have a great chance of being Kansas State because did you see Kansas State going on the road late at night? BYU kicked their damn feet then.
I
ass whooping.
There's another team that has path to the playoffs. I know they're number 14, undefeated, but that is a fucking good football team, man.
And I'm telling you, there is one team that's going to be watching really closely as a non-Power 5 school. Boise State. They're keeping their eye real close on BYU because outside of the at large is going to be one of those two.
Yeah. I hope it's Boise State, man. They're so fucking fun to watch.
Ashton Jetties, I need to see him in the playoffs.
Dude, it's just 13 carries, 185 yards, and 3 touchdowns in the first half this past week, and they just decide, you're done. Let him play. Just let him play, please, because he plays for Boise State. This man should win the Heisman. He's not going to win the Heisman. He's not going to win the Heisman, though, because he's at Boise State if he has one game where he has like 18 carries for 90 yards. It's just not going to happen.
I'll say this. For the longest of times, I have said consistently, Reggie Bush is the best college football player I've ever seen. He's easily the best college running back I've ever seen. Ashton Jeanty might take that place. He's that good.
It's like you're playing Road to Glory on freshman. Like, watch.
Literally.
His first touch this weekend, 75 yards to the house. Just
crazy.
He had 13 carries, 185 yards, and 3 touchdowns. His yards per game and yards per carry went down.
Crazy.
Went
Crazy.
down. He's at 1,000 yards rushing and under 100 carries.
Like, do people understand
He's
how
averaging
crazy
over
that
10
is?
yards a carry. It's not real. I feel like that chick on the airplane. This motherfucker is not real.
We overuse the term video game numbers. Those are legit video game numbers.
Yep.
Unbelievable. And also, too, we talk about, you say he's not going to win the Heisman. Well, he did. Well, and granted, that could change this weekend because Oregon's run defense is kind of smelly. But what Ashton Jeanty did to Oregon is, you got to take that into account.
Yeah.
They should take that into account.
Absolutely. And you know what I love about this year? A quarterback is not going to win the Heisman.
Hopefully not, because no one's really stood out.
Because there are two. I'm sick of it being the award that goes to the number one team's quarterback. That's not what the Heisman Trophy is.
Yep.
There's two guys this year who are the clear front runners. And both of them, we already mentioned one. The second is and if he can just stay healthy, he will. If he stays on the field with his crazy usage rate, he will win the Heisman Trophy.
I can't believe I'm going to say this, but there is a guy that he can do a lot in these next couple of weeks to get into the Heisman conversation. I trashed him. I trashed this kid. Drew Aller is playing some
really good. Drew Aller is good. I've never thought Drew Aller was bad. I thought he was too conservative. You could always see the flashes there. Drew Aller is just a fucking good quarterback. He will play in the NFL. Drew Aller will be an NFL quarterback.
He shouldn't start year one, but I'll give credit where it's due because I trashed him a lot. He's good.
Yep.
He's good.
Yes, he is.
He can sneak in.
Yeah. So with that being said, that's going to wrap this week's episode of the Goonery. We'll be back next week talking, hopefully, a Bears win and recapping what's going to be an all-time college football slate because the playoff picture is going to be much, much more clear after this week. Yep. Made it this far. Thank you for listening. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and we will see you next week.